Hi, Deborah.
Hello. Hmm.
So did you get here following the link in the calendar or the link in the agenda? Or,
I use the link in the agenda.
okay, good. Because I used the link in the agenda and no one else was there. So I
Oh,
closed and used the link in the calendar. Have you only been here for like,
yeah, I just came in now.
okay,
So I mean it's just barely 6:28 and my this big computer, the desktop that I use, I don't use it often enough and then I always have to log back into my email and then it takes longer than I am expecting. I guess I should just do it on my laptop, which is what I do everything else on, but it's nice to have a bigger screen.
yeah.
It'll probably just be you, me, Hannah, and Ron. Nobody, well, wait, Jeannie came last time, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know her, but is she a congressperson? Someone else told me Jeannie somebody, so I was wondering if, not Congress, but some
Oh,
political.
um, there's a Jeannie Albert
Oh, okay, so
and
that's not her though, the person.
Bristol or Moncton who's,
Oh,
um, I think, so one of the seats there was vacated. Did somebody die? I forget.
oh yeah,
Anyway,
I do remember that someone.
oh, Marie Cordes moved to Canada.
Oh, so
Oh,
that's the one
and
that Jeannie took. Oh, there. Okay,
Jeannie
this
Albert
is
is one of
okay,
them.
so this is a different Jeannie. Yeah,
I
now that
think,
now that you're here, Janie or Jean,
yeah.
is it Jean? Hello.
Hi,
Hi, are you Jean or is it Jeannie?
thank you for asking. It's Jean.
Jean. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Hi, Hannah.
Hey y'all, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Everyone survived the smoke last week?
Oh, I added something to the agenda or to the
I saw, and I was like, gee, I wonder why Deborah was thinking about that. Yeah,
Well, last year wasn't quite so bad, but the year before, remember, was really horrible too. I think it's just something we're going to have to deal with every
yeah,
summer now. I mean, maybe not
yeah,
even this summer, fall. I mean, the tundra burns in the winter. It sounds like it just gets into the peat and it doesn't go away. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to that part in the agenda, but yeah, it's
yeah.
like,
I don't know that what we could do about it. That's not something Vermont has charge or control over, but still it has to be made,
no,
I
it's
guess.
not, but like perhaps we can advocate for management of our own forests in ways
Yeah.
that are proactive about
Yeah.
the potential for wildfire becoming
Oh,
more,
goodness.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
um, yeah. Jean, how are you? I can't see
I'm
if you said hi or nodded or thumbs up.
hi. Yeah, just crazy busy at work at Hope. We're seeing some of the nasty things take effect. It's
Yeah.
been a stressful week plus, but it's okay. We're all working to find balance and it will be okay, one way or another.
It will be okay. I printed out and stuck above my desk because I was getting really stressed out about things. The Martin Luther King quote, the arc of history tends towards justice.
Yes.
And I'm like just like, okay, think about things are generally gonna get better, right?
It's going to be a while. It's going to be getting a lot worse before it gets better. And right now, everybody's heads are spinning, going, "What is Trump doing in DC?" Well, he's trying to distract us from the Epstein crap. So, it's
Yeah.
all about smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
Well, thank you all, because I know we all are dealing with our own things and the world being crazy and
yeah.
outside stress. So thank you all for making the time to be here this evening.
Since
Um,
it's come up,
yeah,
I was thinking about maybe at the end of the meeting, but it seems like now is might be okay. I, I am, I am, I am not performing at the level I would like to. I blame the federal situation and other things for that. And I feel like probably someone else that regional planning and the Natural Resources Committee would be served better if someone else took on the chairship. That said, if you're all feeling just as bad as I am, and you know, I mean, I won't say I'm happy to continue, but you know, if I mean, it just seems like we're starting a new year kind of, and if, you know, this might be a okay time to change the chair. And I've never actually, we've never, like, the previous chair moved off regional planning and kind of tabbed me to be the chair. So there's never really been any kind of election or anything. So, anyway, just throwing it out there that if someone else would like to take on the chair, I would be more than happy to step back. And if
Arabella, I understand completely where you're coming from. I think that most of us are in the same place, or we will all be going in and out of it. I think I speak for everybody to say if there's anything we can do to support you, we will do it. If you want to share the duties, I love to take on everything, but I don't think I am with my job right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just talk about how you're feeling, and I know that we're all in this together, okay? We are. And I feel very supportive of you, and I appreciate what you're doing.
I'm not doing much, that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of second and underline what Jean said, yeah, thank you for expressing how you're feeling. Yeah, this is a volunteer position, so obviously we want you to be doing things that are serving you and not detracting from your quality of life. So I don't know exactly what the process is for, you know, changing chairs around, but I can ask the other folks on the the other staff members, and also look at our books, protocols, bylaws. There we go, books, attention books, and yeah, see what that process is. And yeah, if you want to talk at all offline, that's great too. But yeah, thank you for speaking up, and also I think you've been doing a great job. So thank you for doing what you've been doing.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else folks want to talk about before we get into the swing of things, talking about feedback I received from y'all on the executive summary? Okay. I will. Oh, I have a cat putting claws into my ankle. Sorry.
That's the worst.
Yeah, little bums. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and start with the executive summary. So yeah, just quickly reviewing last time we all met, I introduced this to y'all. Some of you had already taken a brief look when I sent it out that day. And over the past month, folks were just giving me more detailed feedback. Thank you for doing that. And I just wanted to take the time today to discuss the feedback that I got and kind of group think on the solutions for like how the final phrasing. And then we'll move on to, I will introduce to y'all the next chunk, which is I drafted the water quality section, and I'll tell you kind of about what I did. But okay, so starting off, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to make it bigger? I can make it bigger too.
That'd be good.
Yes. Okay. So not too much. I mean, it is a very high level chunk on the executive summary, so not too much to go over, but Deborah raised, is there an action related to wetlands? There was not in the original version. I have added, again, we'll talk about this later, I've added some wetland specific recommended actions. So that is a check yes now. under agricultural resources, Arabella flagged, should we be specifying soils? To me, it makes sense to specify soils here because in the beginning of this goal, we used the terminology prime, statewide, and locally important, which is generally the categories that are flagged or that are like used to describe agricultural soils. So would anyone be opposed to switching agricultural land to soils?
Not a bit.
Great. And I think also that is useful because not all agriculturally important soil is currently being used for agriculture, but that doesn't mean that it should not be like planned for and protected. And so that specification of soils accounts for different land uses on top of it. Okay. So in the wildlife, native plants, and natural communities, Ron pointed out that the way that I tagged some regionally significant habitat areas, it's a non-inclusive list. It like leaves out some important areas. So my thought here is, do we go super broad and not mention any specific areas and say just regionally significant habitat areas, or get rid of this key areas bullet? Sorry, the ragweed has started blooming in Central Mass, and I have a slightly scratchy throat from allergies. I apologize. Or so either we go really broad and kind of get rid of that specificity, or do we want to go and tie the key areas more to things like the Vermont Conservation Design priority habitat areas?
I would like more information about those areas. I'm a little new to this.
Yeah, no problem. So Vermont Conservation Design is created by Vermont DEC and Vermont Fish and Wildlife. And Eric Sorensen is kind of the head brain behind it, but it's
Hear you.
yeah. Sorry? You can hear me? You can't hear me? Okay. So yeah, essentially what it is
Are other
some-
people able to hear her? I cannot hear all of a sudden.
I can hear.
I can hear. Can you hear me?
I can't hear. Arabella, I can't hear you either.
okay.
Okay.
My suggestion, maybe I'll
I
type it in
just
the-
unplugged my speakers. I seem to have a problem with speakers, so
Hmm.
now I can hear you again, but
Oh,
faint.
you can hear us now. Okay, great.
Thanks. Sorry.
No problem. I do it all the time. So Vermont Conservation Design is the state wildlife scientists and environmental conservation scientists working together to create like map and GIS analysis to take a bunch of data from like satellite data, from survey data, from topographic data, and do a not perfect, but very good analysis of across the state, where are the corridors, pathways, and like key spots for what is like the priority conservation areas if we want to have a functional landscape across the state, and then also north, south, east, west into the other states and countries around us. So yeah, it's a conservation planning system that's been developed by the state by a bunch of environmental scientists.
Thanks.
So
the idea would be to identify all of those specific
yeah, I guess we don't.
ones that are in
So
Madison County or in the Otter Creek Basin. Wait,
yeah,
Madison County. Where am I?
yeah. Both. I mean, most of Addison County is a creek basin. Yeah. So I guess the question I'm asking here is, should I even keep this key areas bullet in? Or should I just get rid of it and then we'll discuss kind of key areas once we get down into the actual meat of that section?
Well, that makes sense since you don't have key areas in the other sections.
That's what I just noticed as well. Yeah.
And if you mention key areas, people will assume that other areas are not important.
Yeah. Yeah. People really key in on what you mentioned. So, okay. So I will just get rid of that. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, scenic resources. So here it's talking about some of the the overview of the main challenges of preserving scenic resources in our area. And Ron put in that adding misplaced private single wells is also, single family dwellings impacts this as well. So what I was thinking is strip development or development that like non-centralized development or development. Yeah, basically what I want to add here is an acknowledgement of when we start having scattered houses outside of the traditional like structure of little clumped villages, then you are ending up impacting what the Vermont landscape looks like. So strip development or
Strip or scattered development.
scattered.
It's
Has anyone seen what's going on up the Plains Road in Salisbury? Going up there, that was a wildlife corridor on, I think it's Upper Plains Road. It's the transfer station is along there in Salisbury. But the woods are just being crashed down and they're building these huge houses along the ridge there. It's huge, it's immense, and it's bad on so many levels. Not,
That's honestly something that potentially we should include is like ridgeline development. There are
yes, yeah,
some towns like Moncton, I know, has a ridgeline overlay district to preserve that scenic resource. So do y'all feel in agreement that we should add something about ridgeline development?
Sure.
yep.
Yeah, just because there are ways to like, I mean, there's lots of these really interesting scenic preservation development, smart growth guides to talk about ways to like identify scenic overlooks, like specific vistas that are really culturally community-wide important. And then like you can nestle, like with a good design, you can nestle new development down in a way that's not super obtrusive to that like really valuable vista, especially in Addison County. I mean, everywhere, but in Addison County, we are like prime area of the state for these big sweeping vistas out over the valley and the lake. So it's like very important.
Yeah.
Okay. And then final piece here, not surprising that Deborah brought this up, but yeah, air quality, something that's since the last time this chapter was written was 2011, and wildfires were not happening to the intensity and frequency that we were getting smoked out all the time. So that is a new thing. I think it should be discussed in that section when we get to it. I don't know that, like, we can't directly impact wildfires that are happening in Canada, but perhaps something that we could work in is making the case either in air quality or perhaps in forest resources, making the argument for supporting projects and research that like think about how to manage forest fires in our region.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Anything else y'all want me to know about the executive summary?
I would like to, and maybe this isn't the right time, but I would like to add in another consideration, which is new and emerging technologies. And I'm thinking specifically of a local digester on a farm and its impact on traffic and on where these big trucks are riding through, and also on our water resources. I think this is really important. We don't know what's in the stuff that's being toted in, and I'm really concerned about the impact of that on our water resources, and I think that we should pay some attention to that.
Yeah. So that's something that I like. Well, first, Deborah and Arabella, how do y'all feel about? Okay.
Mhm.
To me, that makes sense to include. I'll need to add that into the water section that I just drafted, but that's why it's the first draft.
Thanks.
I do know that one of the considerations in the transportation section of the plan is talking about like the movement of large trucks through our area. I mean, we have some pain points in the region, like Virgin, where there are major studies going on about how large trucks moving north-south through Addison County kind of impact local traffic. I don't know specifically if it talks about, yeah, we could, like, as we're drafting that, we can do some thoughts. I
Okay.
can do some thinking about how to, in this section, do a reference up to the transportation section.
Because I think that when a big new project is proposed, we really need to pay attention. And when the permit for this facility was granted, there was talk of it not coming up from Route 30 over the Cedar Swamp Road and over the covered bridge, but it is. These huge things coming in a really delicate swamp area.
Yeah. Okay, so going through the delicate swamp area,
Yeah.
which, just so I can do some research on it, what digester is it?
It's the Goodrich Farm digester.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it.
Thank
And then
you.
is there water that's then produced that has to go somewhere? Is that where when you talk about water quality?
I know that some people along the road, the main road near it, have had a few water issues. But the basic issue is we don't know what's in the stuff that they're bringing in. It could be containing PFAS. It could be
Oh,
having tons of microplastics. It could have whatever agricultural chemicals are being sprayed on things. We just don't know. And I think we need to shine a light on this
where's the stuff coming from?
all over the place.
All over the state, all other states?
All over the state. I'm not sure where else. I was talking with a neighbor of mine, Deb Brighton, yesterday, who lives on the road that they go flying by. And many of us are concerned, but everybody's afraid to say something about it. So I think that we need to look at what are the pieces of this that can be harmful, how can we alleviate them, and how can we make the facilities that are making the money off of this accountable to everybody else for any harm that they're doing. And I really do believe there's harm being done.
Yeah, I definitely need to do more research into what digesters and their like kind of trickle down impacts, and what we know, what research has been done about what like kind of the outputs are, because my basic understanding of them is that they are often touted as a good solution to removing some amount of farm waste and some of that phosphorus out of the runoff by kind of centralizing it and like concentrating it, digesting it. But yeah, I don't know about that's as far as I know, and I don't know the underlying like details. So that's a great point.
I know, yeah, I know Steve Mayer was concerned about it.
Great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know it's one of those things of like,
What next?
what next? And also like not wanting to, you don't want it to be like a cane toad situation in Australia. Like you bring in one solution and that solution becomes something that you need a solution for later on.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what's happening here.
No. Okay. Yeah. Great. Great. I will incorporate those changes into this executive summary. Now I want to share with you kind of so tomorrow or the day after, tomorrow's looking a little busy and I want to make sure I type up these notes well. I will share the minutes and also the draft of the water quality section that I've been working on this past month. What I want to go over with you tonight is like my main thoughts that I had when I was writing it. And I'm also going to send this guide, this overview to you as well. But just like the key points that I would like feedback on that I, just haven't settled my mind on or like want other brains to think about. So can you see the new document that I opened? Great. Okay. So just to start off, when I was drafting this chapter, I started by thinking like, what are some of the major additions and changes to the world of water quality since 2011, the last time this chapter was written, which is wild that it was so long ago. But a big one for our region and the state in general, the establishment of the total maximum daily load for Lake Champlain. So finally getting a state and federal plan for pollution management in the lake. And that's had a bunch of trickle down effects in terms of what water quality regulating and programming looks like in our state. Also, we have a new tactical basin plan for the Otter Creek Basin that was published in 2020. Well, there's been two since the last time this was written, but the most recent one was in 2024. And specifically for this surface and groundwater section, the tactical basin plan is like the best source of what is currently happening and what actions need to be taken. And so with that 2024 edition, that's what I'm looking to for a lot of the data and a lot of the recommended actions, just because it's like such a good source. Also, since the last time this chapter was written, was the Clean Water Service Provider Program was established in 2019, and the Regional Planning Commission is the service provider for the region. So that I think should be mentioned and included in this chapter, because it's like we're guiding and facilitating and providing technical assistance for a ton of these projects that we're trying to make happen. And then other things, we've had increased flooding intensity and frequency in the region. I mean, we had Irene when this chapter was written before, but Irene we thought was a storm of the century, and now we've had a couple of those. We've also become more aware of PFAS and microplastics. Thank you for raising that. I hadn't included that before, but we'll rewrite to include it. PFAS and microplastics in groundwater was not on anyone's radar in 2011. So as you guys are reading this, if you think of any other like kind of watershed moments that we should include, please let me know. The other kind of broad feedback that I'm looking for as y'all review this over the next month is, are there spots where it can be more concise or clear? A big goal from our executive director for all of us staff members as we're working with our committees to rewrite the chapters is to make them shorter so that people actually read them and use them. Because right now the chapter is 103 pages for natural resources, and no one's going to go through that. And like, it just keeps us as an organization less accountable to going back and using what we've written and like actually sticking to the plan. So if there are spots that you're like, jettison it, absolutely point that out. Yeah, so if just to now go through the outline of how I've organized the chapter, I did just from the get-go switch the title of this section from surface and groundwater resources, just water quality in general. The reason I did that is that a lot of the actions, programs, science cover both, because if you're having water traveling over the surface of the land, it will also influence our aquifers and groundwater, and they're so linked that I thought they should just be. And also water quality is like so much more in our lexicon these days that it just seems like a better fit with how we go about business as a regional planning commission.
I think it's good.
Okay, great. Starts off, there's a summary, then it goes into the goals and objectives, which we all worked together to create and finalize. Then there's a list of recommended actions. I have split these into subcategories like public outreach or wetlands or groundwater, and then there are like recommended actions within that. The vast majority of those recommendations are pulled either verbatim or like lumped together from the tactical basin plan. Again, just because it's 2024, it's like the basin scientists are the experts on what we need to do to improve water quality in the region. So like the tactical basin plan, as it's written in the enabling legislation, is tied directly to the regional plan. But in this case, the tactical basin plan was published before we're updating this, and they need to be in concordance with each other. And so now it's us who needs to be in concordance with the tactical basin plan, although normally it's the other way around. So that's why I pulled a lot from it. But if there are things that are missing, we can add. Certainly we can add things that are not included in the tactical basin plan. Yep, so that's the recommended actions. And then in the documentation and analysis section, this is where I think we can strip a lot of stuff out and make it more agile and useful. But I also want to ask for your feedback as you read through it on if it still provides enough or too much information. You know, strike the balance between like giving people enough information and like useless stuff. So I start off by talking about what the regulatory and planning structures are. So like a brief overview of things like what the TMDL is for the Lake Champlain, and like what the Clean Water Service Provider is, and what the water quality standards are for Vermont, and like what being listed as an impaired water means. And then I go into an overview of regional surface water resources. So I hit on some of the major like named features. So like Lake Champlain, Lake Dunmore, Otter Creek, New Haven River, things like that kind of specifically, and talk about their importance in current conditions. And then I also talk more broadly about kind of categories. So like wetlands, riparian buffers, and what role they play in the region. And then I talk about challenges. So like basically the problems that we're facing that we want to address with this plan. And so, yeah, I've added, I should update this, but I've added increased intensity and frequency of flooding events. And then I And for groundwater, I added PFAS and we'll add microplastics. But then other things that I talk about in there are, you know, things that have been on folks' minds since 2011, but I've done some update of the data. So like we know more about what our levels are for phosphorus and nitrogen and like sediment loads, things like that. I do the same for groundwater, not as many named resources because who really knows the name of a specific aquifer, but talk about where they're located in our region and how they're recharged, things like that. Talk about the challenges as well. And then at the end, I think it's important to include, but I don't exactly know how much to include. I have a small section that discusses our water quality project partners in the region. So like Riverwatch, the Quist, like and the Basin Water Quality Council, Lewis Creek Association, Natural Resource Conservation Service. And yeah, I think it's important. And I also would love to hear your feedback once you read it about like how much to include in that, or how much to just be like, here are some of the people that we work with, and here's like a link to their websites where you can find out more about their work. Yeah. Okay. Whew, that was a lot of talking all in one go. Does anyone have any questions?
What is this? You got a meeting?
Hey, Ed. Yeah. Any thoughts or questions?
It looks great.
Okay. So yeah, I will send this out. I will send it out as a Google Doc link that people can comment directly on. Jean, I know that you prefer to have it as a Google Doc. So I will also include, not as Google Doc, as a Word. So I will also include a Word version.
Thank
And if
you.
people want to do that, just email me back any comment, like a copy with comments that you have, and I can move it in to the Google Docs so we can all see it together. And yeah, I don't have anything more for us to go over this evening. Is there any other business folks would like to go over? Okay. Since there's no more business, I move that we adjourn.
So moved. Or second.
Fabulous.
something.
Fabulous. Thank you all very much. I will send out minutes. As I said, it may not be out tomorrow. It'll probably be out Wednesday. And in the meantime, if you have anything you want to talk to me about, let me know. And Arabella, I will look into kind of what the process is for switching up chairs and stuff like that. So
Okay.
great.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.
Have a good
Night.
night.
You too.